Things with Super Auto 2.0 have slowly but surely gotten out of hand, so it's time to go back to stock. Stick around. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage, and as always, I want to thank all the new subscribers out there, all the new patrons, everybody that supports the channel. Without you guys, none of this would be possible, but let's get all that out of the way. This thing has gotten out of hand, and so we're going to take it back to stock. Well, the tune, that is. We're taking the tune back to stock. We're going to completely tune this. The only thing, we're going to leave a couple things, settings in there, like for the throttle body and sorry, there's some coolant where I was topping it off the other day. The throttle body and the intake plenum stuff, we're going to leave that settings in place. Transmission we're not going to touch because there's been so much done on the transmission side that I don't want to have to redo as far as with all the gearing and things like that. But for the engine, we're going to take a stock 2015 Silverado tune and push it in. And we're going to start the tuning process for stock. We'll even see if this thing will start. It may not start with a stock tune on it because, well, I mean, look at it. It's crazy. There's so much done to it. But it doesn't stop there. We're not done. I thought we were going to start tuning this weekend. We are not going to start tuning this weekend, most likely because our sponsors over at Snow Performance, Nitrous Express, has decided to hook us up with a direct injection plate for the Holley EFI. So we will be adding methanol direct injection. We will do a video or two on the installation of putting the spacer in, and yeah, we're going to have to cut into the cowl. So we are going to have to remove some metal from the engine bay to make clearance for it, but it's going to be awesome. The other side of it, because we are going with direct methanol injection, we are going to be adding some EGT gauges to the manifolds, the exhaust manifolds, so we can see the effects of the methanol injection to help maintain cylinder temperatures at a reasonable level. That's the big thing. That's what kills motors, is having that high cylinder temp. Detonation does it, and which detonation is a product generally of high cylinder temp. Whenever you compress air, it gets hot. Whenever you jam it into a hot motor, it doesn't help the effects of it. And what happens is, because of all that heat that's being retained in your engine, it pre-ignites the fuel in the cylinder, and that destroys things. Then on top of it, if that cylinder temp gets too hot, you have things like rings butt together and they break pistons. Temperature is what kills motors one way or the other. And so, because we are not running an intercooler on this, at least not initially, we will be running direct injection methanol. Thank you, Snow Performance. We will continue with our 50/50 boost. We're using our stage 4 kit. All of that stuff's going to remain the same. We're just going to install the plate, run the lines over, and we're running number 2 jets on there. And then, as I said, we will, shouldn't be too hard to get in here to the exhaust manifolds, drill them out, tap them, and put 2 EGT probes in. What we'll be doing with that side of things is we're going to bring the EGTs back to the micro squirt along with the boost control. We're going to have a ESD circuit basically on this thing. So if you are one of the guys that come from the instrumentation world, the emergency shutdown circuit is going to be tied into our bypass valve, and it will allow our bypass valve to open and dump boost pressure. So we will have things like high EGT will dump boost pressure. Low fuel pressure will dump boost pressure. Error on our pump controller from our stage 4 methanol pump controller will dump boost pressure. We're going to have so many different safeguards on here that will just open the bypass valve up and allow us to dump off boost pressure, so we can potentially save a catastrophic event, because all of these systems are way quicker to react than we as humans watching a gauge are hearing situations. If you hear it, it's probably too late. So we are going to go through the process of tying in all of these different safeties that allow us to dump boost pressure. Man, that ProCharger valve was leaning up against something that's got a rub mark on it. It just makes me sad. It makes me want to cry. I mean, my engine bay's nasty anyways, but we got to do some cleaning up on that. We got wires hanging out everywhere. But today, we are putting a stock tune in it. So let's dive into the cabin. Let's grab the tune that's on there. We will open up the compare file, and then we will blast all that crap out. There may not be that much on this one already because I've kind of have this thing set back. We have made some adjustments, but we're going to blast it back to stock. That way, whenever we do start tuning, we will start tuning the engine from almost nothing but stock parameters. Okay, so we are downloading the tune. We're shooting through the pasture window. A little bit dark in here, I apologize. I will brighten this up in post, as they say. Now, while we're doing this, if you want to talk about something that is worse than the metric size 10 socket, it is these things right here. This is the USB A to C converter. I am on my 7th or 8th pack of 2 of these things. I lose these every time I plug one in or unplug one, it seems like. Talk about a pain in the butt. Ugh, man. I've never regretted getting a laptop that only had USB-C more in my life than the fact that I'm constantly looking for these. Literally the other day, I had one of these plugged into the computer. I unplugged it, and 5 minutes later, I went to find it. I could not find it. But we are just downloading the ECM right now. We're not going to mess with the TCM, as I said, at all, pretty much on this tune. Whenever we kind of get it done and we get to the point where we want to make some TCM grabs, we will do a full read at that point in time and pull both out and save it into one tune file. But for now, we're just doing the ECM. Okay, we got it opened up here. I've got a stock file that I'm going to open as our compare file. And we're going to go through, there's a lot of stuff. Okay, map stuff, we're not going to change that because we don't want to change our scaling on our map. But let's look at our comparison log. So let's go ahead and copy over selected, copy over selected. We will reset our idle. Okay. MAF calibration, we'll copy that over. Cranking VE, we'll copy that over. Dynamic airflow, copy over. Intake manifold volume, we want to keep the same. In fact, I want to verify that I've updated it in this tune. So, yep. So 850 is kind of what I ballparked for the Holley Hi-Ram. Coefficients, copy over that. Alcohol multiplier, we'll leave that the same because this was not a flex fuel vehicle whenever I got it, and it is now. Throttle area, throttle max area, we'll leave that the same. Pressure ratio limits. Yeah, we'll leave those the same. That shouldn't make a difference. We are going to leave the intake or the cam, intake cam locked out on the variable camshaft. I don't want to deal with cam timing. I've gone into this in the past. You've heard me talk about it. So we go back in, and I'm also not going to adjust my SOI and EOI on my injectors because I do have those dialed in to where I can get the maximum injector control out of that. And I'll do a video on that later on so you guys can see it. Stoic, the same thing. We'll leave that the same because it is set up for flex fuel now. So we can go ahead and copy over these for the oxygen sensors, copy everything over. Open loop, copy over that. Power enrich. Yeah, to hell with it. I'll copy it over and redo my power enrichment stuff. Cat over temps on. Cut off DFCO, copy over. Leaving displacement on demand off and leaving flex fuel on. Spark, all of our corrections. Copy over. Copy over. Torque management. All of our torque management stuff will copy over. Leave my DTCs as they are. I'm going to leave my fuel pressure stuff as it is because that's specific to my fuel cell. And then that's basically it. So we've got everything that I want to copy over. So we are, as far as the engine goes, pretty much back to tune as far as MAF, VE, spark, all that stuff. So let's save this as, oh no, all my hard work out the window. Seems like a logical way to name it. And let's go ahead and we'll write calibration. Okay, we got the calibration written in here now. I like to go ahead and power cycle the truck. See if the thing will start with this calibration in. She's definitely not happy and is running pig rich right now. We're running about 0.7 lambda, so we've got some work to do. Fuel trims are trying to fight it back out lean. Good enough for now. Ooh, as you can see, she was rich. She wanted a diesel for a second. Don't see that too often. Whew, smells like fuel a little bit. We were running super rich on that, but as I said, everything's kind of out of whack. It would fire up and run. It was not happy about it. It did a little bit of dieseling. We have our work cut out for us. Not just on the idle side of things, but the top end wide open throttle stuff is going to be a lot of work to get everything working together properly with the auxiliary fuel, the methanol injection, the new boost setup. All that jazz is going to make for a lot of tuning videos, but at least this way you guys can kind of see the process that I'm going to go through from taking stock fuel trim, spark tables, all that stuff, and getting it to modified running awesome. Now there is some considerations that are going to be different on this because we're using auxiliary fueling. Our cylinder air mass is not going to calculate properly. So you'll see me go in and adjust a lot of stuff like on the timing table where normally we would get down to here on the cylinder air mass. We're going to carry that all the way up to about the halfway point. So where we were running 16 degrees of timing down here, now we're going to be running 16 degrees of timing at about 30% less cylinder air mass because we're doing a lot of heavy lifting with our auxiliary fuel system. So we need to get the fuel pump probably set up and dialed in. We're going to start maybe tuning this just with the fuel that's in the tank, which is about a 25% methanol or ethanol blend in the tank right now. But as we move into E85, we're going to need that bigger 525 liters per hour fuel pump. Technically, that's probably not going to be enough whenever we're running full E85, but we'll work our way towards that and see if we need to do a dual pump setup at that point in time. We will make up some of it with the methanol injection kit, so it's just kind of seeing where we're at, watching fuel pressure, things like that. But we'll get into all the ins and outs, how we set up all the shutdowns and safeties and stuff like that. And then here soon, we're going to be adding meth injection on the port side. Thank you once again, Snow Performance, for that huge hookup. I'm super excited. This thing is going to be an absolute monster whenever it's said and done. So I've got other stuff to get knocked out today. I want to thank you as always for stopping by the garage. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that now. Ring that bell. Throw a thumbs up there. Always helps me out. ABT, always be tuning.